So yesterday, it was voted that the winter fuel allowance will be cut for pensioners, which alone is an absolute disgrace. Rightly so. This has sparked outrage across the country, and Starmer and his government have been under fire over this decision. Whether it's Starmer, Reeves or Angela Rayner that are giving their reasons as to why, the British public can see through their lies. Following this announcement, the Prime Minister was interviewed by Laura Quinsberg, and to summarise it modestly, he was absolutely destroyed, as she called him, for the lies regarding the winter fuel allowance. Let's have a look at the clip, but first, please do hit the like and subscribe button and join our fast-growing community. So, as promised, let's watch Starmer get roasted.
Was to audit the books. What she found was a £22 billion black hole this year. Now, she had a choice, pretend it isn't there, walk past it, or deal with it.
Now, I just want to deal with it. I just want to stop you there. I just want to stop you there. On that 22 billion, I want everybody watching this to know and understand that nearly half of that 22 billion, £9 billion, comes from decisions that your government has made to give many public sector workers pay rises above inflation, including junior doctors getting 22% of an increase over 2 years. So again, when it comes to winter fuel allowance, that was a choice. It was a political decision for the reasons that you say you want to sort out the economy. But how can you justify it to viewers who feel like it is an attack on some people who've worked hard all their lives? They're not wealthy, they don't have money to spare. And this year, if it's cold, they're going to be looking at the thermostat and wondering if they can pay their bills.
The guy just tells lie after lie after lie. It's good that the British public can see through all of this, and a good job done by Laura Quinsberg. In other news, a leading think tank has indicated that Labour will look to increase the rate of fuel duty in the upcoming autumn statement, potentially acting as a hammer blow for petrol and diesel drivers. Labour will unveil its first budget on October 30th, with Chancellor Rachel Reeves looking to make cuts that will fill the £22 billion funding black hole left by the previous Conservative government. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has already conceded that Labour will be forced to make difficult decisions in the budget, warning Britons to prepare for painful announcements. One of the most pressing issues which the government may need to deal with includes the 5p per litre fuel duty cut, which has remained frozen since 2022. This was in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which forced prices at the pumps higher, with then-Chancellor Rishi Sunak introducing measures to alleviate the pain felt by motorists. The decision to freeze rates has been repeated twice since, most recently by former Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, who estimated that it would save the average driver £50 a year. However, a new report from the Resolution Foundation has identified fuel duty, stamp duty, and business rates relief for retail and hospitality would be potential headaches for Chancellor Rachel Reeves and the Labour government. The Revenue and Reform report suggested that the loss of fuel duty due to vehicle electrification will be an £8 billion problem by 2029 to 2030 and grow further every year after. This could be exacerbated by Labour's decision to reinstate the original 2030 deadline to ban the sale of new petrol and diesel cars and vans, scrapping a 5-year delay introduced by former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. While an announcement has not yet been made by Labour, a government spokesperson confirmed to GB News that a decision would be made in due course. It outlines that the government's default policy is for fuel duty to rise in line with RPI inflation. If this remains at 2.1%, fuel duty could rise in April by 1.2p to roughly 59.2p, when taking into account the government avoiding an extension to the 5p freeze. These changes are already included in the Office for Budget Responsibility's fiscal outlook and would not represent a change in policy. The cost of cancelling all of the scheduled rises would be an estimated £4.8 billion in 2028 to 2029, while doing only the 5p rise and no further increases would still cost around £2 billion. However, even with the scheduled rises, the future real value of fuel duty would not only be lower than at any point from 2004 to 2021, but also lower than immediately after the temporary 5p cut, the think tank noted. The Resolution Foundation has previously suggested an option of monthly uprating to remove the drama of larger annual jumps, in addition to a fixed uprating rate of 2% a year. The report stated, "The budget may well involve some tough decisions on tax, perhaps for those making large capital gains, or who are bequeathing very large estates. But the prize can be a more dependable spending and revenue outlook coupled with a more neutral, efficient tax system." According to RAC Fuel Watch, the average price of petrol across the UK is 139.41 pence per litre, while diesel drivers are paying an average of 144.16 pence per litre. The ARAC, as well as other motoring organisations, estimate that fuel prices will continue to fall in the near future, potentially even for the rest of the year. An HM Treasury spokesperson said, "Following the spending audit, the Chancellor has been clear that difficult decisions lie ahead on spending, welfare and tax to fix the foundations of our economy and address the £22 billion black hole in the public finances left by the last government. Decisions on how to do that will be taken at the budget in the round." In other news, Nigel Farage has broken his silence on allegations about his involvement in spurring the recent UK riots, as a terrorism watchdog has called for more transparency on terror suspects. The Reform UK leader recalled how following the events of the Southport attack, Farage took to social media to question whether the truth was being withheld about the details of the attack, along with the stabbing of an army lieutenant in Kent. Now, a terrorism watchdog has warned that an information vacuum following the Southport incident incited and enraged and inspired people to those really bad attacks. Hitting out at those who criticised him and accused him of spurring on the rioting as a result of the attack, Farage demanded apologies for the appalling abuse he received from prominent MPs. Speaking on GB News, Farage explained, "I felt we weren't being told the full truth. I don't know what the reasons were, and I felt even more justified in what I said just a couple of weeks later. When we learned that Callocane, the triple murderer from Nottingham, we learned that actually, 3 years before that atrocity, a very senior doctor had said if you let this man out, he will go out and kill. Now, why we weren't allowed to be told a bit more about this man, I don't know. Had we been told more about him, I do not think the Southport riots would have happened on anything like the level that they did." Reflecting on his decision not to speak out in response to the accusations previously, Farage admitted that he chose to ignore it under the suspicion that more might happen. Delivering his verdict on the new watchdog report, Farage declared that their conclusions in the report are exactly what he was saying all along. Farage fumed, "I've got to tell you folks, that is exactly what I was saying. Tell us the truth, because you would not have had that frenzied online speculation." Why the government, why the police chose not to do it, is something we need answers to. It's perfectly clear from the views of those two gentlemen that actually it was government that led to those riots being far worse than they could have been. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.